mental health issues after the Terence Crawford fight. Why I love Boots Ennis. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Cardinal Red. But let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So it's a lot of controversy going on right now surrounding Errol Spence and his mental state after the Terence Crawford fight. And I just want to give my 16 nickels on what's going on and break it down for anybody listening.
So, I've been getting sent this video. Finally watched it last night. I gotta say, man, it's a video from BDA Boxer. Spence Jr. suffers from residual neurological damage. He explained that everything he felt like that was wrong with Errol Spence having neurological damage or whatever. He broke it down.
Alright, so there are a lot of questions coming into play about Errol Spence's mental state after the fight. And I want to give my 2 cents on what's really going on and try to break it down for anybody, because I think there's a lot of false information being put out there based off of hurt feelings. And I just want to try to clear it up for any of my subscribers that want to know what's really going on to me.
I got this information from BDA Boxing. He did an interview with a doctor who called in and was talking about he did a lot of study and work on patients that have neurological damage.
Alright, y'all, so here's the thing. Here's something that I know. I'm not a doctor, never been to medical school, but here's some common sense that I know about head injuries and the results that they can have on someone after something like a car accident. And I just want to be honest and truthful for the subscribers, anybody listening. You know, I had a pretty bad car accident in my life as well, where, you know, my face went through a window and I was knocked out and had to get a bunch of tests and CAT scans and stuff like that to be released from the hospital. So I know a little bit about, you know, head injuries and being injured from them, and I just wanted to break it down a little bit.
By the time I'm finished with y'all gonna be as bad as Jim Brown.
Now, one thing I know definitely, you can't diagnose anything through a TV screen other than maybe a cut or a gunshot wound. You can look at it and say, hey, he's been shot or he's been cut. You know, that you can, but nothing internal can you diagnose through a TV screen. It's impossible. You know, I don't know why people are trying to insinuate that somehow watching a fight that you can diagnose whether somebody has brain damage or not.
And I was sitting on the bed, I heard a noise. And I said, somebody fell like they were breaking in. And I called it, Thurman. I went downstairs. And there he was on the floor, he was dead.
And to go even further into that, here's the thing. They did all types of tests, ran all types of tests. Remember, this guy is the same guy who went through, like his whole body went through a window of a car that flipped over a bunch of times. So you would think, anybody logically thinking would think that, hey, if this guy went through all that, not only are they going to test him, they're probably going to test him twice or 3 times just to make sure that he doesn't have any lasting damage from that car accident before the Terence Crawford fight, before the Yordenis Ugas fight, before the Danny Garcia fight. You know, you would think that they would have ran all these tests before those fights. You know, so if they didn't find anything before the Terence Crawford fight, what makes you think that that's what lost him the Terence Crawford fight?
Well, I just got one thing to say to that. God damn bless America. Oh, hey!
And another thing, do you think for 1 second that if they did find something and they just threw him in the ring with some type of brain damage, that he doesn't have a lawsuit on his hands? You know, he doesn't have a lawsuit that he could bring up against them for endangering his life. You know, you wouldn't think that he wouldn't be trying to go get some money out of them because they endangered his life. Like, it doesn't even make sense at this point why people are reaching this far just because he lost. And, you know, here's another thing. To throw something else on top of that, not only would they be, you know, sued by Errol Spence for putting his life in danger, the sanctioning bodies would have to then go back and sanction them. Like, they wouldn't be able to host fights anymore if they get caught for doing that. If they stuck him in the ring with brain damage and they got caught doing that, then the whole PBC would be shut down, have their license revoked, and all this stuff would happen because they endangered the life of one of their fighters knowingly to get some money. Like, Errol Spence fans need to stop pushing this narrative, because if it's found out to be true, you're going to ruin the very thing that you love, PBC Boxing, the black-owned boxing company, by, you know, bringing all this stuff to light.
No, he's mistaken. He's mistaken. That was not me.
Now, it would be completely idiotic and stupid for PBC to do that to one of their fighters, but if you guys expose it for what it is and it's really true, then you're going to bring the whole company down. That's number one. Now, number two, you know, I find it laughable and comical because there is no evidence of this. We just saw Errol Spence post some Instagram pics of himself saying that he has his head up, you know, and he's fine, you know, and it didn't look like his face was as messed up as it was on Saturday night. So, you know, I don't understand why people are trying to run with this like that's the reason. Go watch my last video if you want to know the reason why he pretty much, I think, lost the fight. But here's another point I want to make before I end this off. There is no evidence of this happening to Errol Spence. There is no evidence of him having brain damage other than some random person calling into a random YouTuber's channel and saying that he's a doctor and that he diagnosed Errol Spence through his TV screen.
You're a nerd. I know you are, but what am I?
It really doesn't make sense, but there is no evidence. But here's a point I want to make. Manny Pacquiao had evidence. He had evidence of his shoulder being torn, and nobody believed him. There were x-rays. There was his actual surgeon that came out and said, yeah, I did the same surgery on him that I did on Kobe Bryant. And nobody believed him. And I've been trying to push this narrative to some of the Errol Spence subscribers I have, you know, for the past 2 years, that, hey, you guys have to realize that Manny Pacquiao had a shoulder injury that everybody said didn't exist, but he actually had physical evidence that it actually existed. Nobody believed me. And, you know, nobody wanted to believe when I said, you know, the reason Errol Spence backed out of the Manny Pacquiao fight was because he knew his feet couldn't keep up with Manny Pacquiao's hand speed and foot speed. It wasn't the torn retina. It had nothing to do. There was nothing on the radar about Errol Spence's eye even slightly being damaged before that. They were saying it was as healed as it's ever been before that. And as soon as the fight got announced, as soon as they went through one or two sparring sessions, all of a sudden he's saying that his eye is damaged to the point where he needs another 6 months out of the ring. I can't remember exactly how long it was, but it was somewhere to that effect. And even then, he didn't say, hey, I'll hold off and fight Manny Pacquiao as soon as my eye is healed. No, they completely canceled it. Manny Pacquiao ended up having to fight someone else, and they ended up getting the title in the way that they wanted the title. Now, I'm not saying this to, you know, try to say that I still don't like Errol Spence or I think Errol Spence is lying. I don't think Errol Spence is doing anything. He hasn't said anything about the fight other than he's fine and congratulating Terence Crawford. The same thing I'm doing. Congratulations to Terence Crawford, because the only conspiracy I think is out there is that Spence said some things he shouldn't have said, and that could have had an effect on the fight. I don't think his eye is actually, you know, messed up. I don't think he has brain damage. He's going to fight again. He's going to fight again. So what happens when he fights again? You sending a brain-damaged fighter out there to fight a man who just beat him up for 9 rounds. Like, what sense does that make to anybody? And I'm not knocking any of these YouTubers making these claims, because some of these guys I still have a little bit of respect left for, because you know, I respected you before you started making these claims, and I liked your content before that. And, you know, we all share the fandom of Errol Spence together. So, you know, I still got a little respect for you guys. But, man, you're going to have people start to lose respect for you if you keep making silly claims like this. Errol Spence lost. Let's live with it. Let's move on. You know, I know you guys need to make content to get views and everything because you don't have the fight to talk about anymore. But let's move on to the rematch. Focus on how he can win the rematch. And, you know, congratulate Terence Crawford as many times as we can because he put in the work to prove what he proved on Saturday night. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. That like button for me. Share. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, that Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. More than likely to get a response on the tube to holler at me over there. If you want to collabo, feature a product or your channel on my channel, feel free to hit my Gmail because it is a flack of cards at gmail.com.
It's the chairman of the board, swerving in the Ford. Game sharp like George Gervin with the sword. I ain't the one to ignore, I'm crushing the norm. Schoolgirls let me come in their dorm. When I come and perform, you get to see it live in person. Hot rhyme dispersing, rhyme detergent. Now this a clean flow, Asian, the Latino, black folks, gringos. Niggas know Louis Keys is off the Figaro. State senator, freestyle emperor. Niggas on the block, low or high temperature. Hail or rain, spell my name. K-E-Y-Z, getting mail from game. Got a dime on the side, don't tell my dame. With an attitude like fuck your favorite MC unless it is me. Now listen close to what I say. Louisville niggas getting killed every day. Nigga trying to get a little money every way. From the streets to the stage, trying to get paid. They hear your boys spit some heat and they all fat. They see your boy on the streets and they all fat. Monster Squad on the beat, yeah they all fat. I know niggas that I'm off the blunt and then eat the roach like Fur Factor. I ain't a queer rapper on a John Deere tractor. I'm a real nigga. Let me say it again. I'm a real nigga, and I'm playing to win. Louis Keys finna kill him with the flow. Weed man, show me love, give him 64 or O. That's why I ride around cigarillas full of dro. Now you a real nigga, you a nigga that should know. But if a nigga don't know, now he does. If he wasn't talking shit, treat him like he was. See, I'm just a young nigga trying to get a buzz, either off a CD or a couple buzz. Yeah, them little dimes wanna fuck with us, cause we got a few drinks and a couple drugs. With an attitude like fuck your favorite MC unless it is me. Now listen close to what I say. Louisville niggas getting killed every day. Nigga trying to get a little money every way. From the streets to the stage, trying to get paid. They hear your boys spit some heat and they all fat. They see your boy on the streets and they all fat. Monster Squad on the beat, yeah they all fat. I might chill with a freak, yeah I'm no gangster, but I know players that'll run in your crib like Cosmo Kramer. But it ain't a sitcom, a nigga spit bombs. I hope you're coming for war, I'm coming with Nam. Viacom, even the realest niggas sang along. Even the baddest bitches bring them home with me. And here's a heads up, you can go and get the doctor. A straight shot, I hit your papa in his knickerbockers. A nigga sauce said it's rough out there. Lil' Dime's getting live for a puff out there. And this nigga still playing the tough role, just so they can get their face placed on their brush clothes. Is it really worth it? Niggas really nervous. I'm on top of my game and I'm feeling perfect. With an attitude like fuck your favorite MC unless it is me, Louis Keys.